welcome back to the Crazy Courage Business Stories podcast. I'm your host, Nick, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. Her name is Karen Yaworsky. Now, I want to say Karen runs one business or she has one title, but I would say that would be selling her short for sure. Karen, I'm going to let you introduce yourself in terms of what title you want to give yourself or how long it's going to be.
Thanks, Nick. I'm very excited to be here for sure. Thanks for having me on. I do consider myself, I typically just title myself a women's health coach. But if you look behind the scenes, there are a few other businesses that are happening besides the health
Right.
coaching business. That is my number one, but I also build and rent out tiny homes on Airbnb and do some business consulting as well as dog sitting. They have a special place in my heart. So I'm actually dog sitting right now. So I have this extra little dog sitting business that I recently started, and these are all things that just bring me joy. And so I can't not do them. But my health coaching business is definitely my number one.
Nice. Okay, so let's talk about the health coaching business. So you're a registered holistic nutritionist, right?
I am. I'm a few different things. So a registered
Beautiful.
holistic nutritionist. I've also gone to culinary school. So the title from that is a culinary expert. I'm also an exercise specialist, a fascial stretch therapist, Thai massage practitioner, yoga instructor, and recently have completed my somatic healing certification as well. All of which go together. So it sounds like a lot, but that's why I just use health coach. It's much easier.
Yeah, fair. That's why I figured it'd be best if you gave yourself your own title and introduced that. It's just so many words there. Now, okay, I know a little bit, and I do mean a little bit about holistic nutrition.
Hmm.
Um, and if I could sum it up, I think I've been told that the best way to sum it up is that you want to think of food as medicine,
Absolutely.
right? Does
Absolutely.
that make sense?
Yeah, I do see food as medicine and, holistic nutrition, looking at the word holistic, we really are looking at the entire being. So not just the
Right.
food that you're eating, but how your body is processing that, how it's impacting your hormones, how it's impacting your gut, how it's impacting your energy, how you feel about yourself, your relationship with food, how that's going to translate over into the world. So when we're talking about holistic nutrition, we are talking about the entire being as opposed to just macronutrient breakdown and calories in versus calories out.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. So just awesome. So, and garbage in, garbage out, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're going to eat garbage. Your body's going to feel like garbage. That just makes sense, right? And
Hmm.
especially when you get to, I guess, my age, when you're 20, you can eat whatever you want. But when you get to my age, you start thinking, okay, I need to start eating foods that are going to give me energy, make me feel good, as opposed to just garbage that tastes good for half a second and then just
Yeah, really
treats my body
nutrient
like
void foods. A lot of
right.
the processed foods, a lot of the fun foods that we do eat in our 20s and our 30s, and we can get away with it. But when you're in your 40s and beyond, man or woman, our bodies process things differently. I work in
Oh yeah.
women's health, so really focusing in on the hormonal impact of these foods and the different hormonal changes that our bodies go through, and which foods are going to be really supportive for that or not. So it is very different as we get older. And even for men versus women, a lot of the popular diet trends that are out there, whether that's keto or intermittent fasting or these high protein, low carb lifestyles, the majority of the research that is done on those is done on men. And so a lot of women hop on
Okay.
board to these diet plans with the hopes that they're going to lose weight, not realizing that they're doing a lot of metabolic damage and hormonal damage at the same time. So that's when they come to me and I'm teaching them about their body and I'm teaching them about their hormones and how different foods are going to respond differently than their male counterpart at the same age.
Right. And I feel like in terms of nutrition and diets and all that stuff, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's done with marketing, right? So the marketing
Hmm.
says, well, we got to go on keto diet this week, or we have to do the Mediterranean diet the next week, or there's all of these, the diet of the day, right? And the fad. And like you said, most of these are um, they're done with men in mind. But I think it's really, and I'm going to say I'm on board with the holistic approach where we're the genders need to be treated differently and each individual needs to be treated as an individual as well, because we're all different. I mean, we
Absolutely.
can't just say, okay, everyone on keto diet and we're good, because
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
just simplifies things. And it's just, I think when you're looking at the holistic approach to your body, it's understanding how complicated your body is and how everyone reacts differently to different foods. So you can't just paint everyone with the same brush and expect the same results. It doesn't make
Hmm.
sense. Like you say, like hormonal changes is probably a good example in terms of everyone's hormones are at different levels. You can't just
Yeah.
treat it all the same.
So factoring in that bio-individuality, and so many factors contribute to this, from age to gender to lifestyle to stress to sleep, you know, looking at the entire person and really assessing their lifestyle and what is going to be the best action plan for them is how I like to approach it. Because it can be very different for every single individual. Every body is different.
Right, right.
Hmm.
So it's I find it's that's why you need, I would say your services are probably quite important to have someone make some sort of diet plan that's tailored to you, because
Hmm.
you can't just go by the marketing, right? It's not that simple. It's like
Yeah,
your work as a personal trainer, same sort of thing, right? That's the outside of the body, or more of the the muscles and the parts of the body, but at the
exactly.
same time, you can't just
Everybody
say, all
functions
right, everyone lift
differently.
dumbbell, right?
Hmm. And so, especially when I was a full-time personal trainer, there was never two exercise programs that were the same for different clients. So again, really assessing the individual for where they're at right now and then building out an appropriate plan that's specific to them. And that's the beauty of these services is you get that individualized approach. So you can take full confidence that if you're going to be working with a practitioner like myself, you're making the right choices for your body. It's not just a guessing game because it's the latest trend or an influencer had, great success
Right.
and you decided to jump on board. It really is about reconnecting with your body and learning what your body needs from you. And when you do that, the rest is easy. Everything starts to fall into place, but you have to be connected to what your body needs from you.
Right. So you have, at the end of the day, there's no shortcuts. Is that there? You have to do the work.
Well, you do have to do the work, but it doesn't have to feel like work. So for my clients, my intention
Right.
is to be able to make it easy and to be able to make it fun. And that is the best part about this. So even changing your mind frame about it, if we're approaching it from the perspective of this is going to be so much work, I'm going to have to restrict everything, I'm not going to be able to eat all the foods I love, your body hears what your brain is saying, and there's going to be a resistance factor embedded into the plan if you approach it from that perspective. My favorite thing, and this happens almost every single time, when I start with a client, the last thing they say with me when we're getting off the phone after registration is, I'm so excited. That's the energy that you
Oh,
want to
nice.
move forward
Right.
with. And my intention is to make this as easy as possible for you. It shouldn't be so much work to feel and look really good. There is an element of fun and joy and ease in this process. It all depends on how you're approaching it.
Nice. Nice. All right. Well, that's
Mhm.
fantastic. That's fantastic. All right. So, and then as a culinary nutrition expert, does that mean that you're able to design meal plans for
Yeah.
people? Does that make it easier for you to do
It
that?
does make it easier. The culinary aspect to it is something that I embedded in to learn a different style. I was a full time personal trainer and had already gone through nutrition school, but I still sort of didn't really know what to do with it. Ironically enough, in nutrition school, you learn a lot about nutrients and a lot about the body, but not a lot about actual food. So I left with
Okay.
all this knowledge and no idea how to put it together on my plate. And so I went to culinary school, and that's the experience that truthfully changed everything for me. I started to see things
Okay.
completely differently, and I was eating foods that I probably wouldn't have eaten before because I had these toxic nutritional beliefs about them, believing they were going to make me fat or believing that they were quote unquote bad foods. But in reality, when I started eating these foods, because you have to eat your homework in culinary school, which is the beauty
Right.
of going
Right.
to a school like that, but
That's
I
okay.
noticed I started
Yeah.
feeling better. My digestion issues improved. My energy came back. Weight fell off. And one of the beautiful things about that experience is it really changed my relationship with food. And so now that's what I share with the women that I work with, because it's such a critical aspect to their success is redefining their relationship with food. If we're always thinking that these are good foods or bad foods, or I had a quote unquote bad day with food, again, your body hears what your brain is saying. So redefining your relationship with food, welcoming these beautiful, healthful, really nourishing foods into your body as tools. I always see nutrients as tools. So giving your body the tools that it needs to get the job done. And so, yeah. So yes, I can design meal plans, but the best part about that is I'm going to design them so they taste really freaking good. So
Nice. Right.
because
That's
if you
important.
enjoy it, yeah, I do believe that that is a critical aspect to my client's success. Because if you enjoy it, it's easy to stick with it, right? I want for my
Right.
clients to
Yeah.
enjoy the process, enjoy the food. It is meant to be a big part of life. It's used in celebration on every occasion. Food is everywhere. It's not about restricting. It's about embracing it and using it as a beautiful healing tool that it can be.
I have to say, I'm coming around. I'm coming around I'm trying to, on my side, fix nutrition and going to the grocery store and seeing that those aisles on the inside are the ones that don't necessarily have the good stuff for you. It's the aisles on the outside that have the fresh ingredients that you really need to work with. I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning. I'm learning little by little. I'm getting
Your
there.
body will thank
I'll
you.
get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay. Now you said you also do. I saw on your website you do facial stretch therapy or
Fascial
facial
stretch
stretch
therapy.
therapy. Fascial.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My
Yeah.
apologies.
No, that's okay. It's a very
And
common mistake. People come in
so
thinking they're
clearly,
getting a
I'm new
facial.
to that term.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So what does that mean?
So the fascia is like a layer of skin underneath your skin and it encompasses your entire body. It's between your skin and your
Okay.
muscle tissue. It's 9 times more receptive than muscle tissue and it's very vascular in nature if it is free flowing. So it's web like as
Okay.
well. So when your fascia is restricted, that web closes up and it restricts your blood flow. It's often the
Okay.
reason why if you have a really tight spot, say your neck and shoulders are really, really tight and you keep massaging it, you keep working through it and it just won't let go, quite likely it's because your fascia is restricted. So this is a service where you're on a massage table and I am taking you through different planes of motion, helping to release your fascia, open up those tight junctions, allow blood flow to come back in. It's incredibly helpful to do for things like pain management, reducing inflammation in your body, increased range of motion, sport performance, just ease in your daily life,
Wow.
especially if you a
Okay.
lot of people spend so many hours behind a desk and we're stuck in this position. So there are a lot of
Right.
restrictions build and your tissue starts to thicken. So this helps to open everything back up and get that freedom of movement. So yeah, that's what fascial stretch therapy is.
Interesting. Very interesting. I had not heard of that type of massage therapy before. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but you also do Thai massage. Now, do you
I
incorporate
do
the two?
I do. So I went to Thailand a few years back, and if you've ever been, you get massages on every corner for next to nothing. And it was
Nice.
such a nice experience, and it's very different than traditional massages here. So I came back and got
Okay.
my certification in that as well. And so between, my studies in movement and body mechanics and the fascial stretch therapy and then the Thai massage, it really does all blend together. And so I take little pieces from each of those different disciplines to help work with my clients. And whatever they need in that moment, I can kind of pull from my toolbox to help them.
Wow, interesting. Well, I mean, you have a pretty vast toolbox, so it sounds like, yeah, you're not one dimensional in terms of being able to help people. You really can one stop shop to be able to help people inside and out. That's very
Yeah,
impressive. That's
it
very
all
impressive.
makes sense. If we're talking about overall well being and health and vitality and movement and aging gracefully, we want to look at
Yeah,
multiple different aspects of it. It's never going to be just one thing. It's never just the food that you're
right.
eating or just the movement that you're doing. We want to look at the whole picture. So the term holistic very much fits into what I do.
Wow, awesome. Awesome. Now, so do you have programs for people?
I do. So
What
currently there's many different ways that I can help offer support. So a lot of my
Nice.
programs are digital products that they can purchase online with or without coaching. So some of them are standalone. You purchase them, you walk yourself through them. And some of them you work with me one-on-one at different capacities. Some of them are group, some of them are one-on-one, and each one has a bit of a different focus. Then we can also do some in-person work like the fascial stretch therapy or yoga or personal training as well.
Nice. I'll make sure that your website shows up on the description for the episode. Now that's the uh, chaos to calm method.com,
Yes,
right?
you got it. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
Hmm.
I love it. That's a great term, chaos to calm. I mean, it makes so much sense. Your body's in chaos. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
You don't know what, maybe your mind's all over the place. You don't know where to start, and you just kind of calm it down, make it fun
exactly.
and exciting again.
Yeah. And, a
I
lot
love
of
it.
times I'm working with women who are in a really heightened stress state and they don't even realize it. And our
Right?
bodies have a really negative impact to stress, especially as we get older. And so taking you away from that heightened stress state and bringing you to a state of calm in your body, in your life. And that's when our bodies start to thrive. And that's when we can find our joy again. And that's when the process doesn't feel like work and it actually feels like fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Like you said, when people they're done the sign up, they're excited
Hmm.
to dive in, right? That's great.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. Now,
Exactly.
you are a fellow podcaster as well, though, right? So you
I
have your own
am.
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about your podcast. What do you guys talk about? What do you talk about on your podcast?
Well, we talk about it all, really. It is called Chaos to
Talk
Calm.
about it.
So, again, taking you from this state of chaos, and whether that is in your life with your digestion, with your hormones, with your mindset, with your relationships, I really like to talk about it all, because it all fits together. And so the podcast, I like it to be really explorative in nature. I've had different guests on exploring different topics, but I like it to be very conversational so that my listeners, which are majority women, are just feels like we're all sitting around at a cafe having coffee with a really in-depth juicy conversation where they leave learning
Nice.
stuff, feeling empowered, and have some tools to walk away from that they can then implement into their daily life to get a little bit closer to that calm that we all desire and a little bit further from the
Right.
chaos that we want to get away from.
Nice. 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 I love that. Yes. Yes. I'm all for that too. I know you do women's health, but I'm all for it as well.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
um, Yeah. So, okay, now you said you build and rent tiny homes. So,
Hmm.
what does that mean? You build them, like, how do you build them? Just slap some stuff together, and
Well,
how does that work?
yeah, that's kind of how it started. So this happened
Oh yeah.
over the
Okay.
pandemic, where probably
Nice.
watching a little too much HGTV, because they make it look
Right.
so easy on that show. And for Christmas that year, I think it was 2020, I had gifted my husband a weekend at a tiny home. We've always been fascinated by them and really intrigued by them. So it was January 2021 that we booked our weekend away, and we were there and kind of looking around and being like, this looks like we could do this. Like, it doesn't look that hard. It's pretty small, it's pretty simple. Keep in mind, neither one of
Okay.
us have any building experience at all. I don't know where this confidence came from. It must have come from
That's awesome.
HGTV. 1 week later, we
Yeah.
bought a property and started construction. And so now we
Wow.
have two Airbnb tiny homes. The third one is under construction right now. And it's been a really fun project. And especially over the
Really?
pandemic, it
Okay.
gave us a focus. Oh, don't get me wrong, there were some frustrations along the way, but
Sure.
we
Sure.
pretty much YouTubed everything and taught ourselves how to build, including
That's
like
awesome.
plumbing and roofing and things that I would never think that I would get involved in, and was really excited about how it turned out. So we built another one and now we're on our third.
Wow. As someone who's
Hmm.
not very handy himself, I'm very impressed that you guys are able to just say, "Yeah, we're just gonna build some homes. We'll just,
Yeah,
pick up a hammer
totally on a
and
whim,
go at it."
zero experience. Hmm.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. And then lastly, now you're into dog sitting. Clearly a pet lover at heart,
Yeah,
I would think.
absolutely. I had lost my dog in the spring, who was my whole heart. He was just he took a piece of my heart with him. And so over the summer, I was doing some dog sitting for friends and recently fostered a dog. And just kind of on a whim, why don't I do this more often? Because I work digitally, I can take my laptop anywhere I go. And I used to always
Nice.
joke saying I wanted to be a professional dog sitter around the world. So who knows? This might be the start of it. But it
Right.
allows me to get my dog fix, be in different neighborhoods, change it up. I think you can tell even just from knowing me for a
Yeah.
short period, I like change. And so this kind of
Yeah.
fits,
Yeah.
checks off a few boxes. I get to change it up, stay in different neighborhoods, hang out with different dogs, get my fix, and it's fun.
Well, that's awesome. That's fantastic. I saw. I think it's your dog that's front and center on your website.
Yeah, that was my
He
boy.
looks like a big, goofy, fun dog,
Yeah, big
right?
bull mastiff. He
What
weighed,
what was his name?
his name was Nico. Yeah. He
Nico.
was, yeah, he was 140 pounds and just a big ball of love.
Wow.
Hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, all right, let's change gears a little bit. Let's go back in time, and can you tell me a little bit about what you were doing before you decided to break off on your own, and what made you decide to uh, take the plunge?
Hmm. So my career really stemmed from being in personal training and doing that for a number of years full time and quite successfully. I had got promoted in the company that I was working for quite rapidly and went into management pretty quick. I also was teaching the course that people would take to become certified to be a trainer. And in
Nice.
that industry, in that role of management, what had happened was in management, you really get away from what you really love doing. I was a personal
Okay.
training manager, but I wasn't working with people anymore. It really evolved into what felt like just a sales manager. And I missed people. I missed having the opportunity to connect with the humans and deliver the service that I was really excited to be able to do. There was a lot of pressure in that role, hitting really big
Right.
targets, a lot of micromanaging
It's
that
all
was
numbers.
involved.
Yeah.
It is
Right.
all
Right.
numbers. And it was sucking the soul out of me. And I
Oh man.
finally had to get really honest with myself and admit that I wasn't happy anymore. I had a very healthy bank account, and there was a really prestigious title in the industry to hold that role, but it meant
Sure.
absolutely nothing when I wasn't feeling good. My health was also taking a toll. And so that was the game changer for me. I knew something had to change. So I stepped out of that role, and within the next little while, I put myself back into school. And that's when I started studying nutrition. And things just started to evolve from there. I opened up my own studio, and I had, clients coming to see me, and I was quite full. The pandemic started to change that, and
Well,
so I was
of
always
course.
in.
Right.
Mhm. I was always intrigued by the world of online. And keep in mind, I don't even download music. So again, it's kind of like the tiny home thing. I don't know where I get these ideas and believing I can start an online business if I can't even create a playlist. But I did. And it was 2019 that I launched online right before the pandemic. So I'm so grateful that
Oh,
that weird
wow.
idea popped into my head and I went with it because it hit at the perfect time. So when I had to close down
Yeah,
my
it's great time.
studio, I still had my online business that was just starting to take off.
Wow, awesome. Wow, what great
Hmm.
timing.
Yeah.
Couldn't have timed
Hmm.
better than that. Wow,
Hmm.
that's great. Yeah, to go online. I mean, everyone else had to go online and, learn some pretty hard lessons very quickly. But you seem to be ahead of the curve. So good,
Yeah,
good
I
for
was
you.
so,
That's
so
awesome.
grateful for it.
Nice.
Hmm.
And so when you closed down your studio or going online, what were you doing at that time? Were you a holistic nutritionist at that time?
Yeah, so I was doing all similar services, just in a different environment. So I had the studio where people come in to see me for personal training services, as well as the fascial stretch therapy and Thai massage. I was also doing the nutrition consulting and also hosting culinary
Okay.
workshops. So I would fill my home
Wow.
with like 20 people and, put on these workshops. And it was so much fun. And then again, the pandemic closed all that down. So the same services I'm now offering online, and they're just packaged differently. What I like about this now is when I was working with my personal training clients, I wanted to be talking to them more about nutrition. When I was talking to my
Okay.
nutrition clients, I wanted to be talking to them more about, movement and helping them get on board there. So now with the online offerings, I've been able to create it in a way that it encompasses everything. They're going to get the
Oh,
nutrition
nice.
support. We are going to build out some meal plans for them, but they're also going to be working with me for exercise. I've created a whole video series of exercise videos. I think there's about 120 different videos that they have access to now, and they're all categorized differently. So depending on where you're
Wow.
starting from and what your goals are, helping to direct you about which series of videos is going to be more appropriate for you. And it's an area that I'm constantly building based on my clients' feedback as well. So now with the online offerings, instead of compartmentalizing my services, I'm able to offer it all under one umbrella to really give a higher quality service and help my clients on multiple different aspects with one package.
Wow, that's great. I mean, it sounds really comprehensive. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, it's fantastic. I'm almost disappointed that you only work with women, but
We
it's
can
okay.
work something out. We'll just color it blue for you.
There you go. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Phew. That's great. But 120 videos, that's a lot of work. That takes a lot of time to create all those, edit them, all that fun stuff. I mean,
It does. It
yeah.
does.
I
But
mean,
it does. It is fun to do. So that's really
okay,
what drives all of these different passion projects is there has to be a level of enjoyment. Because otherwise
right,
it takes me back to that point when I was in management and starts sucking the soul out of you. You don't go into business for yourself to just have another job that is demanding all your time and all your energy and you're miserable doing it. You go into business
right.
for yourself because you get to do the things that you love and just figure out how to monetize it.
Nice, nice. I
Hmm.
mean, now you've talked about a lot of how, like, to me, it just sounds like, almost like a Cinderella story, right? Where you're just on things were miserable, and then you went on an upward path. There must have been a hiccup along the way. There must have
Oh my
been
goodness.
somewhere
So many
those
hiccups, you can't
obstacles.
even count them. Yeah, it's definitely not a Cinderella story. There is blood, sweat, and tears in each and every one of these ventures, but there is
Right.
a big reward to it as well. I remember getting up at 4 a.m. trying to meet my deadline that I set for myself, and like being so panicked that I wasn't going to get it in time because I had to hand it off to someone to collaborate with some of the tech support that I was getting and just being so stressed out all the time because I wanted to make this happen. But all those periods are lessons. There's times where
Okay.
I was in the middle of a launch and everything crashed. There's times where
Oh, wow.
yeah, there's been so many hiccups along the way. So that's one thing that I talk about a lot with my clients in different capacities. So sometimes I'm doing business coaching and I am very real and open and honest about what to expect moving forward. Same thing with my health clients.
Okay.
I'm very real, open, and honest about what to expect. It's not going to be a smooth journey. So let's just be clear about that. I don't want to ever set unrealistic expectations, but I promise it will always be worth it. Whether I'm talking business or whether I'm talking health, there are going to be bumps in the road. Accept that. Plan for it. Plan
Okay.
to learn from it,
Yeah.
not resist it, because every single mistake is an opportunity to learn something better. And keep in mind, I don't even still know how to create a playlist. And somehow I've been able to create a whole online business. So the fact that I was able to teach myself these things and develop this
That's
with
awesome.
zero knowledge or build tiny homes with zero building knowledge, you learn as you go and your mistakes are lessons along the way.
So is it confidence? Is that what gets you to where you want to go? Perseverance?
I think it's a element of a few different things because in all honesty, I have no business having any kind of confidence that I can build a home or create a digital business. I have zero experience in either. So why I even had confidence I could, I don't know. But I think the confidence comes not necessarily from the exact skill, but the belief in yourself that you can create something, that
Right.
you are willing to learn, you are willing to go through the mistakes, you are willing to put in the time. And if you have that deep belief in yourself, it will get you there. So I think it's less about confidence. It's more about the belief in yourself. And the other thing I can say is aligning yourself with the right people to help you get there. If you're going down a
Okay.
path and you don't know how to get there, but you have a desire to get there, you find the people who've done it before you. You align yourself with support. I remember a mentor of mine way back shared something with me, and I'll never forget. He said that successful people align themselves with successful people. You have a team of successful people around you. So you hire out, you learn from the people who have done it. And, I find for a lot of people, there's a resistance to admit that they need help. And I think that is the greatest strength to admit it, because the moment you admit it, that is your time that you're going to start to turn a corner, and you start to pull in your resources to help get you there and get you unstuck. If you keep telling yourself, I can't do this, it's not for me, I've never done this before, guess what? You're never going to do it. But if you have that belief
Right.
in yourself
Right.
and you can find the people to help get you there, you will get there and you will learn along the way.
Right. I mean, I've heard the quote, if you tell me you can't do something, you're right.
Yep, 100%.
That's
Mm,
it.
Yeah. So, with all of the work that I do, including on myself, there is a significant component of that is mindset work to help keep you in a forward moving frame of mind and not let, self doubt creep in or imposter syndrome creep in. Not to say that it doesn't, because it does from time to time, but you get more skilled about helping to push it back out and not letting it eat into you. That's going to hold you back. So I would say, like on my coaching calls with my clients, as an example, we talk a heck of a lot more about mindset and self sabotage than we do actually about food. They have the resources for the menus, for the
Really.
meal plans, but we talk a lot about mindset.
So it's just to keep going. So it's like the, personal training and all that stuff. It's really because you can work out on your own. I can lift weights. I can, you can do all the stretches or whatever, but you need someone to push you. You need someone to talk you through it and keep that momentum going, right?
Yeah,
Make you
absolutely.
achieve
And
your
make sure you
goals.
don't hold yourself back, right? The brain will always do everything to help keep you safe and comfortable. And if
Right.
keeping you safe and comfortable is on the couch with a bag of Doritos and Netflix, that's what the brain is going to tell you to do. So we have to
Yeah.
learn how to override that system, right? And help become comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens. But it is a skill set that
You're
not
right.
everybody is willing to learn.
No, and sometimes you need someone to get you through the humps and get you over those obstacles, because it's like you said, you just even when you're being trained or whatever, it's knowing that it's okay to need help and not do it on your own.
Totally.
Is that
Yeah, exactly. And that's when having a coach or a mentor comes into play to help get you out of your own way, and help you see the opportunities that are in front of you, because we commonly keep ourselves comfortable, right?
Oh yeah. Yes,
Hmm.
I'm aware.
Hmm.
I'm guilty. Absolutely.
Hmm. We all
Oh
are at
yeah,
different
yeah. The
capacities.
guy
It's
on the
just
couch with
acknowledging
the
it.
yeah, sitting on the couch with the Doritos. Yeah, that struck a chord. Yeah, yeah, I'm there. Don't you worry. Well, that's awesome. So, where do you go from here? What's the future hold for Karen? Can you even see it, or do you even not care? You're just like, I take it day to day, and we'll see where it takes me.
A little bit of both. So there's never, truthfully, a solid, clear path moving forward, because life does throw you curveballs and it also
Yeah.
throws you different opportunities. So I like to stay, very forward moving, but also flexible within that movement. So I can see glimmers of what I want to do ahead. So, for example, now that we're past the pandemic, I have this real desire to be amongst people again and humans in real life.
Right.
And so
Oh yeah.
taking, the community that I've built within the Chaos to Calm brand and programming, and hosting retreats where we can come together and create these experiences and really share and connect and communicate and eat good food and do some movement. I'm
Wow. Nice.
in person. So that is a big goal of this year of mine, and I'm really excited for it. And just staying open to more opportunities for growth. I think In all honesty, in order to scale a business, managing your own energy is one of the most important things. And I think for a lot of people,
Okay.
myself included, the pandemic definitely took its toll on people. And
Oh,
so getting really
yes.
tapped into energetics and managing my own energy to help elevate that and attracting the different opportunities that come from it. So as I move forward, I want to continue to grow and scale the Chaos to Calm community and the Chaos to Calm brand. I also have a clothing line that's attached to it. Super cute.
Nice.
And it's on
So
Etsy.
you have that out. The
Yeah, it's
clothing
on,
brand is
it's,
out now? Is it
yep.
okay?
Yeah. And
Okay,
so
wow, wow.
just some sweatshirts and tanks. And because the Chaos to Calm title to me is so much more than just a title. To me, it is a lifestyle that we are moving
Yeah,
away from this state of chaos and we are finding calmness in our body and in our life. And then hosting the retreats and scaling the online business and allowing that to continue to grow and evolve so that more and more people can literally go from a state of chaos to calm.
right? Yeah, that's
Hmm.
awesome. Oh,
Hmm.
that's great. That's great. Now, can we go back to one quick thing? And I
Hmm.
was hoping to understand it better myself. Is when you're talking about managing your energy, now is that making sure that you have enough energy to do whatever it is you want to accomplish, or is that keeping your stress levels down? What can you please explain that to me?
Yeah, so there's many different ways to look at this. So definitely you want to become very efficient with time management. I have been
Okay,
known to take on too much at different times. And in all aspects of business that I do, it is very exciting. And when you see things growing, it's hard not to want to just keep going with it. But there's a cost to that as well. And so
right.
as I've grown in my business and where I'm at right now, I become very aware of what is taking my energy and what is giving me back energy and making sure that I'm not just expending it all the time. So time management is one thing. Making sure you're taking care of yourself as a business owner. There are a lot of different demands on you, on your body, on your time, on your mind, on your energy. And you need to fuel your
Sure.
body appropriately to do that, not only with the foods that you're eating and the movements that you're doing, but having some opportunities embedded into your schedule to restore your energy. So like literally penciling in downtime where you have a
Okay.
nothing day, where you shut your brain off. That's when creativity emerges. That's when the ideas start to come about. That's when I can see different ways to connect with people and new opportunities. If you don't factor those moments in, you start to become stagnant. And that's when your body, your health, and also your business starts to become stagnant and you can start to go in reverse direction. So managing your
Okay.
time and your energy, I think, is incredibly important, whether you're a business owner or not, to allow you to continue to grow and thrive in life. We need these opportunities to tap into our parasympathetic nervous system, help down regulate so we're not just throwing all of our energy out there, because that'll keep you in a heightened stress response at all times, which is incredibly
Wow.
depleting.
You got really technical there at the end, but I think I understand what you're talking about.
Mhm. Do you want
That's
some
awesome. That's
clarification
awesome. I mean,
between the parasympathetic nervous system, because I think this might be relevant for a lot of your
yeah,
listeners too,
sure.
because
What?
as business
Yeah.
owners,
Yeah.
yeah, so your sympathetic nervous state, that is your fight or flight stress response. That's when every
Okay.
muscle in your body is tight. Your body thinks when you're having a bad day, if you have a really stressful meeting, your body thinks it needs to go into survival mode. It thinks there's an axe murderer chasing you. So that's the response that is
Right. Right.
happening
Yeah.
internally.
Yeah.
So incredibly energy depleting. It also depletes a lot of your nutrients. It's also going to help to increase your inflammation. That's why stress is so critical to pay attention to. And that's your sympathetic nervous
Okay.
state. Your parasympathetic nervous system is rest, digest, heal. That's when our bodies relax. That's when we have an opportunity to restore. That's when your shoulders drop and that tension starts to release from your muscles. That's when we can start to really build back up again. So we never want to be in one state or the other dominant. We naturally flow from one state to the next. But a lot of times, what I see is people
Okay.
are sympathetic dominant the majority of the time and depleting themselves in every aspect possible. So, that is part of what I
And that's
do
just
is
high
help
stress,
teach you
right? Is that
high stress. Yeah. High stress,
that
type A
that's that means
personality.
people are just okay.
Go, go, go. Yep. And so you want to create this flow and teaching you how to go from back and forth and give yourself those opportunities to tap into your parasympathetic side to start to restore your system.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And really, I think what you're saying, if I understand correctly, is making the most of your downtime, and not just sitting in front of the TV, scrolling on your phone, but really shutting down so that you can let your brain sort of work, do its
Yeah,
thing. Is that
detach. Detach. That's
detach?
when
Exactly.
creativity emerges. And especially for entrepreneurs, I think it's incredibly important to factor in those times because if you want to scale and you want to grow, you can't do it without creativity. And creativity doesn't happen when you're super, super stressed.
Right. Right. Yeah. Fair. Fair. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
When you're just, and even if you're shutting down and avoiding the world, that's not really what you're trying to, you're not trying to escape watching TV, or I keep saying TV, but um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you need to be,
That's just another distraction, right?
yeah.
I'm,
Right. Right.
hmm So having those alternative opportunities to detach.
Awesome. Wow. Awesome. That's now, is that stuff that you talk about as well and train or teach the people you work
Very
with?
much so. And that's really how all of this emerged because when I was in management and I was super stressed and it was taking everything out of me, I didn't even recognize myself anymore. I didn't like the person I was becoming, how I was physically, emotionally, mentally, the connection with my partner. I didn't want to go out and be social. I was just so depleted. And when I went to
Wow.
nutrition school shortly after that, that's when I learned about the impact of stress on our body. And so that's why I'm very in
Okay.
tune with that now. And that's why I teach that in the work that I do, because I don't know a person on this planet who isn't impacted by stress, but I know a lot of
Oh,
them
yeah.
who don't know how to manage it. Right.
I'd say that's probably a fair assessment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So that's what
Very
takes
interesting.
us
Very
from
interesting
chaos
stuff.
to
A
calm.
lot to think about for sure. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, exactly. And I think that, yeah, that sums it up pretty neatly. We're all, so many of us living in chaos, and we just need to figure out how to get to our calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, it's like you said, I think the pandemic changed the world, but it took a toll. A lot of people a lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work for a while. They had to pivot to different things. Well, that's a lot of high stress. Plus all the, well, we're going to get sick and bad things are going to happen and the world's coming
Yeah.
to an end. That's a lot of stress. And I don't know. And now that, the economy is kind of going the way it is, I don't know that we've really sort of just been able to take a breath and relax. We sort of, I guess we have to actively
Yeah,
manage
there
ourselves.
is an impact from that isn't being addressed. And I feel like we're really only starting to come out of it now and trying to, get grounded and recalibrate where are we going now? And so I'm meeting so many of my clients at this point saying that they've lost themselves over the past few years and they don't even
Right.
know where to start. I know during that time, a lot of people gravitated towards, well, everybody was baking bread for one. And,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of food, a lot of alcohol, a lot of inactivity. And that became their new
Sure.
lifestyle. That became their coping
Yes.
mechanisms. And now that we're emerging out of this, they don't even know where they are or how they got to this point or where to even start anymore. And the impact of stress is really embedded into their body. So a lot of what we do is help teach them how to uncover all that and help get them back to the state of being that they desire and help reduce that overall stress that we've all experienced for years.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I feel, the pandemic sort of shut down the world, but it's like a big engine. You can't just flick a switch and turn it back on. It takes some time to warm it up and get it going again. And I think yeah, a lot of people are having a hard time getting back to what they were doing. It's just not as simple as, you flip a switch, you snap your fingers, and you're good to go. It's, oh, okay, the pandemic's over, let's go. The damage has been done. We need
Yeah, it's
to
going to take some
address
time
it.
for us to all
Yeah,
recalibrate afterwards, and I'm glad to hear that more and more people are recognizing that now and allowing ourselves to go through it at a pace that humans can withstand, right? Instead of just
right.
like trying to flip that switching and everybody go back, let's pace ourselves a little bit. Let's learn how to take care of
Yeah,
ourselves in the process, so that we don't get to this heightened state of stress all over again.
yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, it's yeah, a lot of work to be done. Guess there's a
Hmm.
lot of people that can use their services for sure out
Hmm.
there. It's a crazy world right now.
Hmm.
Crazy world. Yeah. Well, Karen, this is probably a good stopping point. I think I've got a lot to think about, and certainly you're probably gonna, I'm gonna go down some internet rabbit holes after all this, trying to learn more about my body, nutrition, and all that stuff. So it's good. It's great. I love it. You've got my mind engaged and thinking. So this is fantastic. I
Perfect.
want to thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm going to wish you the best of luck with all of your future endeavors, whatever whims might pop into your head.
Yeah, thank
That's
you so
awesome.
much. This was a really fun conversation. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much, Karen, and we'll talk to you soon.